You know, there's a moment in every person's life when they hear something that cuts deeper than it should. A comment, a doubt, a laugh, a look someone gives you like they've already decided who you are and what you're capable of. And in that instant, you feel something inside you either break or wake up. And I'm telling you right now, if you've ever been underestimated, ignored, dismissed, or told that you're not enough, that moment was not meant to break you. It was meant to ignite something inside you that most people will never access in their entire lives. Some people spend their whole life trying to feel that spark, that intensity, that hunger, but you were given it the day someone doubted you. You were given an opportunity to turn their disbelief into your fire. Doubt is powerful if you pick it up and use it, but if you let it sit on your shoulders, if you carry it like a burden, it becomes the weight that drags you down. What I'm asking you to do is flip the meaning. Instead of letting doubt define you, let it shape you. Let it forge you. Let it push you so far beyond your old limits that the people who doubted you won't even recognize the person you've become. You have to understand something. Criticism doesn't come from people who are ahead of you. It doesn't come from people who are winning, growing, evolving. It comes from people who have settled. People who can't imagine more for themselves will never imagine more for you. So they project their limitations, their fears, their failures onto you because it's easier than confronting their own. When they tell you that you can't do something, what they're really saying is they can't. And most people take that voice, absorb it, internalize it, and make it their own. They repeat it in their head until it becomes a belief, and that belief becomes their prison. But you are not here to live in someone else's prison. You are not here to inherit somebody else's limitations. You're here to break the pattern. You're here to use their doubt as leverage. Because nothing is more powerful than a human being who has something to prove, not to the world, not to the critics, not to the people who never believed in them, but to themselves. When you shift the mission from I'll show them to I'll show me, that's when transformation happens. That's when growth isn't just motivation, it becomes your identity. Now let's talk about action, because belief without action is just a wish. You don't prove people wrong by shouting or arguing or trying to convince them. You prove them wrong by becoming undeniable. You prove them wrong by becoming so consistent, so disciplined, so committed that your results make every opinion irrelevant. People respect results. The world recognizes effort that produces outcomes. You want to silence doubt, outwork it, outgrow it, outlast it. And that requires massive action, messy action, imperfect action, relentless action. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. And while they wait, life passes them by. You cannot wait for confidence to act. You build confidence by acting. Action is the cure for doubt. Action is the path to certainty. When you take one step, then another, you begin to accumulate proof. Proof that you can change. Proof that you can grow. Proof that your life is not defined by your past, your environment, or anyone else's opinion. You need to understand the psychology of momentum. The first steps always feel heavy, difficult, uncomfortable. That's normal. Growth always feels like resistance at first. But the moment you push through that initial friction, you start to tap into a different energy. You start to create internal alignment. Your mind, your emotions, your physiology begin working together instead of against you. And once that happens, action becomes easier. Discipline becomes natural. Consistency becomes who you are. This is how you create unstoppable momentum. Not by waiting, not by wishing, but by acting in spite of doubt, fear, uncertainty. Every time you take action when you don't feel ready, you strengthen your identity. You tell your mind, I am the kind of person who moves. I'm the kind of person who follows through. I'm the kind of person who doesn't stop. And when that identity becomes solid, outside opinions lose all power over you. You must also realize that proving people wrong is not about anger. It's about evolution. It's not about needing validation. It's about creating transformation. The people who doubted you weren't there to stop you. They were there to shape you. They were the resistance you needed to grow stronger. You can't build muscle without resistance, and you can't build an unshakable life without challenge. So when someone underestimates you, Don't get angry. Get focused. When someone dismisses you, don't get discouraged. Get hungry. When someone tries to put you in a box, step out and build a bigger one. Use every criticism as fuel. Use every doubt as leverage. Use every failure as feedback, and keep moving, because the only real competition you have is the person you were yesterday. You have to commit to a level of discipline that most people will never understand. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is power. It is the ability to keep your promises to yourself long after the feeling has faded. Anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can be excited for a week, but can you stay committed when no one is watching? Can you stay consistent when no one believes in you? Can you keep going when the results are not immediate? That is the difference between those who succeed and those who settle. Success is not built on big moments. It's built on tiny decisions repeated over time. The decision to show up, the decision to improve, the decision to push harder, the decision to keep going. These decisions compound. They create an identity that is unstoppable. And when your identity becomes unstoppable, your results become inevitable. Everything you want is on the other side of consistent action. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need anyone to validate you. What you need is hunger. What you need is focus. What you need is a commitment so deep that it becomes non-negotiable. And when you combine that with the fire that comes from being doubted, you become a force of nature. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you chose to rise. You chose to grow. You chose to become the version of yourself that once felt impossible.